Welcome back, everybody, to the part two of our last week's conversation. This is the Players Ball Podcast, hosted by your boy, Alex the Great, and my brother from another, MB, Mr. Simon. How you living, big dog?
Been good, man. Ready for the kids to go back to school, man.
Oh man, preach it, brother, preach it. I think Grayson actually said he's ready to go back. He's like, man, I'm so sick of you. I make school hard. I make them do workbooks and ed apps and all kinds of stuff, so they don't like me. Like, well, you can't just play video games all day. But yeah, I'm ready for them to go back. Man, it feels like it's been a long time since we talked because of how much has gone on, but it hasn't. This is actually the first time in a while we do back to back weeks. So um, let's jump on them highways we were talking about last week. And get the people some some fact checked information. We got traffic incoming, covering all the biggest news in ATL sports, no matter the lane, no matter the highway. Let's get into it with Spaghetti Junction. So let's start with softball. Why the yellow ball? That's something that we talked about last week, and I was like, man, I'm sure some man who just thought women can't see as good as men that made this big ball and changed the rules, and it is a man that created the game of softball, but his intent was not to belittle women, which that is the fact check. Can't think of his name, but he softball came into creation at it was literally supposed to be an indoor opportunity for baseball players to get some practice, and it was a lot of recreational. It was a recreational mainstay in a bunch of areas. It eventually evolved to include fast pitch, and that's really where the women took that over. Slow pitch is still a huge thing, I understand, in Chicago from what I was reading, and the city that it started. I can't think of it, but softball was created to practice baseball indoors on smaller diamond. Um, and that's where it started. So it was not a sexist coup to demean women.
Yeah, so I was surprised. I did my own research as well. It started in 1887, which is older than I would have guessed, because I
Yeah.
believe the whole A League of Their Own experience where women played professional baseball was during one of the world wars. While men were off at war, they wanted to keep America's pastime going. So they essentially had women stand in. Um,
Mhm.
so I thought that was interesting. Softball's a much older game than I would have thought. And to just kind of echo what you said, it was created indoors, so they made the ball bigger and softer because it was a smaller space and they needed a safer method to be able to play and practice, as you mentioned. So I also fact checked the reaction time for both baseball and softball. And because a baseball mound is 60.5 feet from the mound to home plate, and softball is only 43 feet, the reaction time on a 70-mile-an-hour pitch in softball is 0.35 seconds. A 90-mile-an-hour pitch in baseball, the reaction time is 0.44 seconds. So there is a point where softball would be, I guess, slower. It depends on the pitch speed, but I would say that 70 versus 90 mark is a pretty good benchmark uh, to use.
I don't know, man. That 70 seems high.
I think I saw a video where some professional softball pitchers were topping close to 80. I think it was like 78 miles an hour. But I do think the average in professional baseball is probably in that 95-mile-an-hour range.
Yeah.
Um, but I still think at that 70 miles versus 95, uh, you're still either close to breaking even or softball slightly ahead. So just interesting.
It is. It is. I'm glad that you brought that back up. You know, what's also crazy is that we were talking about, softball, and then I saw the news. Do you remember the name Monet Davis?
On what?
Monet Davis?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. She pitched in the Little League World Series. I think they won. Um, she's gonna try out for the Women's Professional Baseball League. They had tryouts in actually this month. I think they already happened, and they're forming a baseball league. So it won't just be softball anymore. It'll be baseball and softball, and why not, right? We talked about, it's women's sports, man. They're coming on fast. I mean, they've been around for a long time, but as far as popularity and garnering a lot more views, it's happening quick.
I was somewhere and ESPN was on, and I looked up, and it was women's professional flag football that they were airing on ESPN. So
Hmm.
that's another one that I've seen grow in popularity. I think they have flag football for girls, but also potentially for boys in high school. I know there's a lot of high schools now that have flag football. I don't know if it's just a girl sport or if it's mixed or if they have a boys. I would imagine that you have a lot more people, guys playing, regular tackle football at the high school level. But it is becoming exceedingly popular. They even have, at the Mercedes Benz, they have a helmet for every high school in Georgia. They have
Mhm.
flags next to the high schools that offer flag football.
Oh wow. Okay, I never noticed that. I had to look once the season starts up and I'm back at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There is a professional softball league as well, and the team here is the Atlanta Smoke. So we gotta look up the Smoke, get some smoke, see what they got going. They actually play at Oglethorpe, so that's in not my immediate neck of the woods, but I'm over there a lot. Good old Brookhaven. So yeah, man, nah, it's a lot to find out once we start to dive into these topics. So I'm glad that we were able to circle back on those. Sticking with the round ball, the All Star game and all the festivities that went along with it were last week. I told you, and I got some footage for our faithful followers of the All Star Village. But man, it was a good time. I think that Atlanta really put on a show. So the All Star Village was dope. They had a bunch of swag, bunch of free merch. I actually got a bobblehead made. It's just a picture. It's a picture of me as a gamer from Allstate, but I
State
thought that
Farm?
was pretty cool and it was free. Or State Farm, yeah, State Farm. Um, a lot of free towels, and we got bats and baseballs, and we didn't see too many players. I know that was happening earlier in the day, and we got there a little later. But the village was dope. I'm glad I was able to give my children that experience. The Bowman boys, the baseball players, they were able to attend as well, so they had a good time in there. There was a giant diamond in the center of the field, or the center of the venue at the Cobb Galleria. So they're out there trying to snag pop ups, and I think they got a turn to hit. So it was cool. There was a batting cage. There was a like some VR baseball activities, a bunch of photo ops. I autographed the 2025 Giant Atlanta baseball. Ashley Grayson did, and I think Cameron and Caden did too. So it was cool, man. And it was quite nostalgic because they had gear from the 2000 All Star Game, which is the last time it was here. And I didn't go to the game. I went to, it wasn't the Derby. It was almost like a skills challenge or something there. Maybe it was like they were taking BP down at the TED at the time, but went down there and I got my ticket still upstairs, and I got a couple autographs on there, so it was real nostalgic, man. It was cool.
Yeah, I got to see some footage from Kirsty actually. She posted some videos on the gram of the boys hitting in the batting cage, and I think they had some of pitching, maybe
Yeah,
uh getting your your speed checked or whatever, some velo cages. It looked like a good time. I'm sad I didn't get an opportunity to go, but it is what it is. I'm
Yeah.
glad you guys got to go out and enjoy it though.
So from there, so we went on Tuesday, the day of the game. So we walked from Cobb Galleria. We went ahead and crossed the bridge over to the Battery, right? And we're there. We get some food, um, and the game's about to start. So it's all these jerseys. The Battery's packed, right? And it's all these different jerseys, and people had their all-star jerseys on and their favorite team, and you see families of like there's this family in line in front of us for some free stuff. They were from Houston. They all had their Rangers gear on. And it was three kids and a mom and a dad. I saw a bunch of that, a bunch of Mets. So it was cool to see the other fans, march upon our home stadium. And then the game kicked off, and right, so we didn't go in the game. We were in we were on the green. The green was absolutely packed, but we could appreciate a lot of the things that were going on in there. So we could hear, the fireworks that they did. We got to hear the flyover. We got to see video of all of the intro, all the Atlanta musicians they brought out, between Jermaine Dupri and Ludacris and
Big
it's
boy.
not Georgia Floyd, Big Boy. Who sang the national anthem? It's a country group, but they did a good job. Sandra on the radio, she was like, "Yeah, and this is what the Super Bowl should have been, but they blew it." And I was like, "Man, she's right. They really jacked that up."
Yeah, it looked awesome. I didn't get to watch a lot of the game, um, or much of it at all, but I got to see some clips after the fact. I did see kind of the intro with the performances of Big Boy and Luda. Um, and The one thing that I saw after the fact was um, the memorial, whatever, the honoring of Hank Aaron
Yeah,
and his 700 and was it 755
755.
um his 755th home run, and just the presentation that they did, and it was absolutely incredible. It was like honestly one of the coolest uh kind of sports uh highlights, or anything that I've really ever seen. So they show all the video footage, right, and they highlight the mound, and you see a pitcher's figure, and they throw the ball. You kind of see the ball as light, kind of traveling towards the plate, and when it gets there, a firework shoots off into and like straight over the left center wall. Um, that was just a really cool presentation.
I had that beam of light that then shot up right where it would have went over in
Yeah,
in Truist. Nah, I think that was probably one of the dopest things I've seen in sports. Never seen anything like that. And shout out to Hammer and Hank. RIP, one of the Atlanta greats, one of the all-time greats in baseball for sure. But I thought that was a marvelous job that they did with that. That was super dope.
yeah. I mean, we see them kind of utilize, in basketball, you have the court and you have all the overhead projection and things that they can do to do some really cool audio video presentations before the game and during the game. And those are cool. Like I've always thought that was a very um cool thing that they've added to the entertainment factor of the game. But to
Mhm.
see something like that in baseball was very different, and just refreshing to see. Like the technology is amazing, and then just the whole whoever came up conceptually with the videos, and then had the idea of having the whole play kind of play itself out in video form, but then bringing in the real life elements of like the fireworks shooting over the wall. in the same place he would have hit the home run. Like that's just crazy.
Master class
Yeah.
in product, whatever it is, like, they killed that.
Yeah, the
They
production value
they
is
really set
amazing.
the bar. And then you could hear, like, on the radio, they were talking to a bunch of people. I talked to some people down there. People were just excited to be there. But Atlanta being the church hat city, we got to put on a show. They did their thing. So, you know, 2021 be damned. They came back and it was a major success.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the
And I got to eat
things
some Anticos too,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with some Anticos. One thing that I think uh is unique, I think the rule was new to this year, and for it to actually play out in real time is kind of crazy. Kind of begs to, you know, is it rigged? Is it scripted? Kind of scenario. But the game ended up going into extra, which they added a rule now. They don't actually play extra innings. They go into a home run off, or what do they call it? A swing off.
Swing off. Yeah, it's a
Uh,
swing off.
so it's three batters from each team. They get three swings essentially. Most home runs wins, and in dramatic fashion, um, I guess it was Kyle Schwarber ended up going 3 for 3. Kind of swinging the tides in the NL's favor, and that ended up being the difference in the game. He got MVP. NL wins. They'll have home field advantage in the World Series. But I just wanted to get your thoughts on that whole swing off concept. I thought it was really cool. It was just
I
different,
think it's
right?
dope.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that every team is gonna be built to do that. So I don't know that you can introduce that to like a regular season or a playoff game.
No, no, no,
Um,
no. But for an All Star
for the
game,
All Star, yeah, no, that's dope. Just any way to incorporate more home runs is gonna be a win. So I thought it was dope.
chicks dig the
And I
long
hate
ball.
that he got to yeah, chick took love. I hate he got that glory on our field, but man, he went crazy. Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah. And I
That
like
last one, he like took a knee and watched it. It was dope.
and my motivation for really wanting to ask the question or bring it up is I feel like all-star games in general have been losing some of their glitz and glam over the last, you know, 5 to 10 years. We've talked in some about the you know, NBA All-Star weekend, how the dunk contest just isn't what it used to be. The game itself, you don't play defense. It gets out of control, and I don't think the viewership is there the way that the league wants it to be. And I think baseball has maintained a very good viewership through their All Star Weekend festivities, and they've added value to their game and their entertainment, whereas I think other sports may be lacking behind. But I don't know what you do to make the NFL All Star game, um, Pro Bowl, or the NBA All Star game. What you do to make it more exciting?
It's tough. I think they've tried to. You got to try to stay as fresh as you can. And I think the NBA has tried to do that with and the NFL. Like the NFL has the Pro Bowl games, right, where it's a flag game, but they have all these competitions of like one hand catch or kickoffs, and it's cool. It's entertaining, but it doesn't. I haven't watched it. I've seen highlights of it, but I haven't tuned in. The All Star being here, I watched it. I'll usually watch, at least a piece of the home run derby. And it's the same thing with the NBA. I'll watch the dunk contest and the 3-point contest. I haven't watched the game in many moons.
Yeah,
But they had to do something with the game itself, like the MLB did with that swing off. You got to stay fresh. And I don't know what that is. Um, NHL they had some success, right? They did the international games. I think that would be cool to watch,
Yeah,
but that'd probably be a lot to organize.
it would. But I definitely think it brought something to the NHL that was severely lacking, right? And that was interest. Um, so I mean,
Yeah,
we talked about that I think at length a while back. So if you didn't check that out, I'll put a link to it in the description below. But yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that. I do think, just thinking about the NBA specifically, the year that Kobe passed and they did um,
yeah.
the scoring differently, I do think that was um, a fresh approach to the game. And I was kind of sad when I heard that that was like a one off, that they weren't going to bring that back. So all the league
And I like the
execs,
player draft, right? That was one of the newer things that they did. That's cool, and it makes it feel like the players are more bought in because they're actually playing with like a pickup game.
yeah,
Maybe they do something with one on one or just smaller, like smaller spectacle.
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where they go. They got to do something though, because it's definitely losing viewership.
Yeah,
It's lost me.
I
Sure, it's
definitely
lost you.
think the league execs need to take notes on what baseball is doing because I do feel like baseball is doing it right.
Yeah. Oh man. And speaking of doing it right, the Braves are not. Right. So All Star was wonderful. I was down at Truist and it was a great time. And then the league kicked back off. The second half of the league kicked back off on Friday. They beat the Yankees, which is great. The evil empire was here in town and they got the job done. And then the next day, I'm at my in-laws. I'm sitting there watching the game with my father-in-law. And, they're up 7-2. I'm like, okay, cool, cool. We're gonna win this game. Starter come out. Next thing I know, it's like 7-3, 7-4, 7-6. I'm like, goodness gracious, man. And then in the ninth inning, Volpe hits a home run to tie the game. So the relief from I think the reliever came in the fifth inning. They blew a 7-run lead to tie it and get it into extras. And then your boy Rysell comes in, or he hit it in the eighth to tie it. Your boy Rysell comes in, and I'm texting you this action. I'm like, yo, he's gonna blow it.
No,
He pitched a grand slam for them to win the game, and I cannot get enough of this. I don't understand it. There was an article that I read after that he's one of our biggest trade pieces, like that people would go for, and I don't know why. He's blown saves. They said he had an excellent last year, and I guess statistically he did. But if your job is to save the game and you're blowing saves left and right, I don't understand how that translates to success.
well, first of all, on Saturday night, I get a text from you, right? Your boy better not! Exclamation! 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 And before I can even look to see what you are talking about, another message: Grand Slam. Shake my head. No, I mean, Rysell's had a struggle for a year. Last year, he was statistically one of the best closers in the league. But when we picked him up, he was not a closer. He was a setup guy. So, I mean, he has closing experience prior, but at the time where we traded for him from the Angels, he was not their closer. And so I don't know if it's a thing. I know baseball specifically, it's a very mental game, pitching, extremely mental. His struggles this year are probably getting to him mentally. He's in his head, but I don't think he is. probably a closer on another team to answer your question. They could view him as a closer, but more than likely he goes to a team that needs additional setup or relief pitching, right?
Yeah.
Um, so we'll see. I know he's a trade piece. There's a couple other bullpen names that I've heard that could be trade bait, and then the biggest one is Marcelo Zuna, which we haven't talked a whole lot about, but he has a hip injury. He's had a hip injury that needs surgery, um, and he's played through it. And when it first came out that he had this injury and he was playing through it and he was going to finish out the season, he was still batting extremely well. He was very effective, and then he went through this horrible June where he wasn't very productive at all, and you can't help but wonder how much that injury is going to continue just to drop his production off as the year goes on, as he gets, more wear and tear on his body. Um,
He's had 6 at bats since the All-Star break, and he doesn't have a hit.
yeah,
He has 3 strikeouts.
he is on an expiring contract though, so if you can get anything
Something.
for him, then you take it. But I don't think
Yeah.
any of those names. I don't think Rysel. I don't think Ozuna. I don't think any of them are going to land us, blockbuster piece that's going to fix this season. But I do think it will help us put together pieces for next year. Because at this point, we have to be looking to next year because this season is done. It's
It's a wash. After the glory of the All-Star game and the success that the city had, and then we came out of that and we won that first game against the Yankees, I was like, "Oh, man, here we go."
on
And then we hit that grand slam that next day. I was like, "Okay, thank you for, keeping me based in reality. I don't need to have, any beliefs in the fool's gold that that first game was." So, I mean, it's kind of a relief to not have to be optimistic about them this season.
it,
Like, it feels like it's over.
Yeah, and like it's crazy too because those first two games they're playing against, as you called them, the Evil Empire, one of the best teams in baseball, right? And they go out and they hit the freaking leather off the ball, right? We score 7 runs in the first
Mhm.
game. We score 7 runs in game two. We look like we're well on our way to winning both those games, and we nearly blew them both. Luckily, we
Yeah,
only blew one. But it just, to your point, I was getting excited. I was getting optimistic. Like, all right, second half, here we come. We're gonna do it again, and then they've fallen apart. They've won 2 games coming out of the All Star break. They won the game on Friday night. They won a um another series opener against the Giants, which I did
mhm.
fact check. We did play them 3 games out in San Francisco, but we got swept. So we did not.
But,
Yeah,
okay.
so we've won 1 game on the West Coast this season, which is absolutely crazy. And then we continue to lose on Sundays. So pack it up, go to church, do what you need to do, because the Braves aren't winning on the Lord's Day.
They are not. And it's quite unfortunate. It's right now they are 14 games out of the division, and for the wild card, they are 10 and a half games behind the Padres. So it would take some real magic. I think the Brewers they won like 9 straight games or something crazy like that. We can put together a run like that, sure, that we could change our fate, but there's nothing, absolutely nothing in my mind that says that that will happen.
But even going on a big run like that, you're still needing the teams that are ahead of you to lose, right? To make up that much ground, essentially you would need to win to surpass the Padres. You would need to win what 11 straight, and the Padres to go 0-10.
to pass him. Yeah,
Or, yeah, like that's it's
something
just a
crazy like that.
unrealistic expectation.
And we're over 100 games. We're at let's do some quick math. 101. So yeah, man, it's over. Count them chips.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's we talked about the diamond for a while, man. That was some good conversation though. Better about the women's and all star game than talking about the Braves, but you know, you win some, you lose some. Um, let's jump into oh man, what's the segment called?
Hooty hoo, man.
Hootie hoo! From the gridiron to the hardwood, you know you got to keep your eyes on the birds. Let's talk Hawks. Let's talk Falcons. This is Hootie hoo! So we had homework for our viewers, and then I had a little homework myself to finish the quarterback. Right, we gave a review of the quarterback last week, and once again, I think it's just a very well done show. I did finish it, um, and I have it's not restored because I never really lost respect for Kirk, right? But you mentioned little spoiler alert that he called. I saw when his wife was talking that he called Mike as soon as he was done meeting with Raheem. Then I did see him taking those scout team reps, and he actually looked good. Like there were some nice passes that he gave up out there, and I can sympathize with him a bit, right? If you're going somewhere, if you expect to be the starter or given a shot, um, it sucks when that call wasn't answered efficiently. But I'm still moving on to Michael Penix.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said it. He has nobody to blame but himself, right? Like it is unfortunate the play where he gets banged up and he hurts his elbow and shoulder, but at the end of the day, you weren't performing at a level that was allowing your team to win, right? Like we were in prime position to win the division, and your play almost single handedly lost us the season. Now, our
Yeah.
defense also contributed to that because we didn't play very good defense, but
Who?
Koo also contributed some.
He contributed. I would say
Uh,
he's second behind Kirk.
but Kurt's the leader of the offense, and
Yeah.
we went several weeks without having a touchdown pass. We really had to lean heavily on Bijan for any kind of offensive production and scoring. So I mean, like I like you said, I can sympathize with him, but at the same time, if you don't do your job, you get fired. Um,
Right.
and most people who get fired aren't getting paid, $80 million to sit. Uh,
Yeah. Now I do still, and I also have to finish. I do still stand by the fact that I think he's going to be a good teammate, right? Whatever he was doing to try to, move the ball on getting traded was one thing, but I think he had it on full display that he was encouraging Mike in practice and after the games, and it just he was good throw. I feel like he's still in his corner, and he just seems like a genuinely good dude. So
yeah, and
shout
I
out
mean,
to Kirk.
you're one play away, right? Like that's that. I know it's that old adage, but it's true, right? Like you're one play away from being the starter again. If
Yeah.
the tables are reversed, hopefully that doesn't come to fruition. But in the event that something were to happen, like you're there, you got to be ready. You got to be a team player, and you got to be prepared to step up if your name is called. And I think based off of Kurt's character, that he would be there. Um, but I still will sit on the thought that that could be another team, and another quarterback going down, and the phone ringing, and Terry, shipping Kurt off to go fill in as a starting quarterback for another team who's starter got hurt. I could see that scenario also playing out this season.
Yeah, no, I can too. Because I mean, let's be frank. There's not a lot of like. There's a class of quarterback. I think there's probably five of them that are top echelon quarterbacks. Right? You got the Patty Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow. Which goodness gracious, when you think about the numbers that they put out, I know that's something that you want to talk about. The numbers that he put up last year in a losing effort was crazy. Who ended up getting the MVP? Let me look that up because that I know he didn't get it, but
It
the
was
last two
either
times a
Josh or
quarterback had put up
Lamar.
those, it was
It was
it
either
was Josh Allen.
yeah, I was gonna
Lamar
say
finished second.
it was Josh or Lamar. And the crazy thing to me, we got our group chat, our friends, we talk ball in there all the time, and the question in the group chat was like, who wins the MVP, Lamar or Josh Allen? There were no discussions about Joe Burrow. Like watching QBs and seeing, and I know it's behind the scenes, so you're like getting a different perspective, but it was enlightening to me on what kind of year he actually had.
Had 8 straight games. I think it was like 300 yards and three touchdowns with no turnovers.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Bro. That's absolutely nuts. But the reason we didn't talk about it because they were losing. Losers
Yeah.
don't get that light. And that's he told Cam Newton that same thing, right? When they sat down for their interview, he was like, no, I don't think I'm gonna get it just because generally you need to have a winning team in order to get that award. So I want to have it one day, but it probably won't be this year. And he ended up being correct.
I thought that whole kind of sequence where he got interviewed by Cam was cool. I've actually, Cam played for the enemy, right? So naturally, that division rivalry, it's not as strong as the Saints, but it's still a division rival. And so when Cam was in Carolina, I'd be the first one to say, scam Newton and this, that, and the third. But in his retired career, I've actually grown to really enjoy listening to Cam's perspective on things. So just seeing that included in the QBs, I thought was awesome. Like I check out his podcast Fourth and Goal all the time,
Yeah.
to hear what he's talking about, and he shoots it real, and I think that's why I like him because he doesn't sugarcoat anything. He has the kind of a behind the scenes perspective because he's lived it, right? So automatically he's got a little bit more respect or clout to take what he says seriously. So I thought that was a cool addition to the show.
This is kind of left field. We'll try to stay a little bit on topic, but we'll circle back. There's a guy. SEC Media Day was also last week, and that's a big deal. But there was a guy, a bald head guy, little man. What's his name? He's like the
Jeff
media
Feinbaum.
guy. Feinbaum. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Cam, did you see his interaction? Or not interaction, but Jeff Feinbaum has said something about Cam, and Cam reacted to it.
No, I
It
didn't
was
see it. I'll have to check
very
that out.
noteworthy. Yeah, I'll find that and send it to you. He was basically just checking, like, no, you don't know who you're talking about, man. My name's Cam Newton. I was one of the best quarterbacks the NFL has ever seen. I ran for 1,000 yards in 5 straight seasons or something like that. He started dropping numbers where it was like, yeah, Cam was a dog. He did play for the other, for a division rival, but there's no discounting the talent that he had. Like the year he won the MVP and went to the Super Bowl, well deserved every ounce of that. So yeah, as one of our peers, he is one that I check out frequently. I like his, and obviously I like Jeff Teague and the boys. That they be clowning on there. They're hilarious. So what about uh what about the third quarterback? Did you learn anything about Detroit that surprised you or no?
No,
Not
but
necessarily Detroit, but.
I liked Jeff Goff as the third quarterback. I think it's a unique perspective. You know, we all kind of discussed it when he was traded to Detroit from the Rams for Matthew Stafford. And then, you know, the Rams go on to win the Super Bowl. But he's traded basically 2 years removed from playing in a Super Bowl. And so it's kind of neat to hear him kind of talk about that experience and how he kind of used the disrespect as fire, and then just the approach of their coaching staff. um i I've always heard people talk about Dan Campbell as like a player's coach, and just, you know, he was an offensive lineman, he's a fiery guy, right, passionate, but you kind of get to see some of it, and I really enjoyed,
Full display.
yeah, I enjoyed that aspect of the show as well. um
Yeah.
you know, you
He's a
don't.
very likable character figure, I would say, not character, because I don't think he's in character. That is him. He is authentically him, and yeah, I love to play football for him.
Yeah. Do you think our guy has that? Like, I saw a another podcast interview. It was the guys on the bus. I forget what they call themselves, but they're like the NFL former NFL players that they always do their podcast in a bus. Either way, they were interviewing Brock Bowers, and they were asking him about Kirby Smart, and like Kirby Smart is known for his passion, his fire, his speeches, the way he gets fired up, his language that he uses, and you see some of that in Dan Campbell. I don't know that Raw has that bone in him.
So there was a clip in the last episode where he was talking to Kirk about, you know, taking reps with the second team, and it seemed like he was like talking to a friend, or like being real honest. And I think that's similar. It's just not that same level of energy. That I don't think that he's got that Dan Campbell energy, like a fiery guy. But I do think similar reasons, like he's relatable, and he knows his stuff well.
I think, like, at least the way I see it, it's like Raheem's a nice guy. He's a player's coach. He's relatable, as you said. He's very intelligent. You know, he's good with the media. Like, he's very polished and buttoned up. But I don't get the feeling like when I hear some of the speeches that Kirby Smart gives, or I hear some of those speeches that Dan Campbell would give, like, I'm ready to run through a wall for that man, right? Like, I'm
Yeah.
fired up, ready to go to war. And I just don't see that from Raw. Ha-
You know, Dan said
in
tears at the podium, man, year one. So he's just an emotional guy, right? Like
but I need
some people just keep 'em tucked up a little bit more. You
I,
want that fire? Because it's gonna come with some tears, right?
I want a coach that's gonna incite a riot on the field with his
Mm,
players.
I can feel that. And Rod's not that guy, you don't think, right?
I mean, maybe he is, but we definitely didn't get to see that side of him, and we'll never get to see it from the outside because the guy he is in the media is not that guy, right?
Nah, it's not. That's not who he is. But you know, maybe a locker room. We'll see, like a passionate post game speech or something like that. I would like some insight into that, because again, we didn't get much of the staff from the Falcons. Like the Detroit staff was all over that. And I like his wife, and then his brother. He seemed cool. What's the drink they were drinking? A Roy Rogers. Have you ever had a Roy Rogers before?
Never heard of a Roy Rogers before.
So I googled it, and it tastes pretty good, or it sounds pretty good. It's cherry coke with grenadine.
So
So I'm gonna
cherry with
try it
more
next
cherry.
time. Yeah, really doubling down on the cherry. Yeah, Roy Rogers was the guy who populated it. He was I think he was an actor, singer. Yeah,
So I thought you were,
they're drinking their Roy Rogers.
yeah, I
Like,
thought you were talking about Jared Goff and his family. I did find the clip interesting, and I might have mentioned it on the last episode. Uh, there's some irony. So Sarah was watching some of the show with me, and we went outside one day to play kickball with the kids. And on the very first play, she's like, till he kicks the ball, Sarah's like backpedaling to go get it, and she like twists her ankle. Uh, Ended the game right there. But I'm pretty sure she had a high ankle sprain, and like literally that night or the night before, I was watching the episode where Jared, you know, gets his ankle rolled up in the Tennessee Titans game, and anyways, like I was sharing some of that with her. But I thought it was interesting. His wife's saying like, sometimes I have to ask him like, no, like, are you actually okay? Because
yeah,
that football manly mentality or whatever is to show no pain, just to suck it up and keep playing, right? So I thought that's like I never would have thought Jared Goff to be like a tough player, but
mm.
it showed a side of him that I didn't expect in terms of that level of toughness.
He curses more than I would think. It almost felt forced, right? I'm not a Jared Goff hater, man. But he didn't endear himself to me like Kirk did in that first season of the quarterback.
Yeah,
So the Saints hit that he took was vicious, but that Joe Burrow hit where he said he heard something like
pop.
crunch, yeah, where it was like, and he had all the grass and turf in his helmet. Dog, that was probably one of the rougher hits I've seen. Literally drove him into the ground head first, and it was two of them. They're both over 300 pounds. Like you had to have a bit of that. Nah, I'm gonna be all right. You have to have some of that, or else you won't make it through a season or a game, let alone a season.
Yeah, like I definitely think all of them have a certain level of toughness. Don't get me wrong, but like I don't know, his perception to me just I've always thought Jared Goff was soft. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
he has that soft personality.
he does. He's very quiet spoken man. Um, yeah.
I will say, like I was already somewhat a fan, but the quarterback that endeared me the way say Kurt did to you in season one was Joe Shiesty.
He's probably one of the most exciting quarterbacks. I mean, knowing what he did statistically was great, but seeing how he did it and how revved up he gets, right? When there was I remember them saying like there was trouble in Cincinnati. I remember that during the season because him and the coach were arguing. Now to see it, and he was so pissed off that they had won the game, but they had like 8 straight false starts or something crazy like that. He was pissed. And he walked in, the coach was like, "Yeah, sometimes I walk into an emotional situation not knowing how emotional it's gonna get." So I thought that was real telling. Now I'm a Joe Burrow fan.
Yeah, the
Over slaying that rock.
I don't understand the fashion things. Just call me old. I don't know any other way to put it. I don't get the whole fashion trends and all that jazz. But just as a player, the attitude, the mentality, the work ethic, and just like I don't know who he is as a person. He seems like a likable dude.
The other thing is that agree for sure. Jamar Chase is, I mean, he's a freak, right? For him to be that strong and that fast is crazy. The videos of him, the clips of him, were nuts. I guess I didn't watch too many Bengals games. And I know he's ranked, as the, top 5, top 3 wide receiver. I feel like he's number 1.
Yeah, I definitely didn't peep the speed as much. as they displayed. Like
Yeah.
just going through the season, going through the year, I didn't realize he had breakaway speed like that. Like I knew he was big, fast, and physical, and like a top wide receiver, as you said, but he is a lot faster than I thought he was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No. Buddy is crazy quick, and that was on full display.
Oh yeah, that yak was on full
Yeah.
display.
That yak. Yeah. Yak monster. Yeah, man. So I mean, it feels good that football is getting closer, basketball is getting closer. Summer league is officially over. Um, but we don't have to rely on baseball, man. We can look into, the Atlanta Smoke. We got to follow up on the Dream. I actually don't know where they're sitting right now because they just had an All-Star break.
They did. I didn't watch any of it. I was gonna ask that all star question originally, and kind of putting it side by side with the things that went on with the WNBA All Star game, but I didn't watch it to be able to comment on it.
It looks like the Dream are 4-6 in their last 10. They're in fifth, which is good enough for second in the East right now. So, still very likely playoff bound, which is good.
Yeah, they're 3 games above 500, so I mean that's good.
Yeah, it is.
The
It
Braves are
is.
below 500. The United is well below 500. Those two
I
teams.
know I'm wearing the hat, so I'm a forever supporter. Call myself a founder. Yikes. We don't even have to bring them up, man. We're running out of time. Let's not even talk about United and how terrible they are.
Yeah, so we will be checking out the Falcons training camp um, either this week or the following week. So stay tuned to get some content on that. As my boy Marcus said, football is right around the corner. I think we're like a month out from the kickoff of football, college and professional. So exciting times, and I can't wait to see the guys in pads getting ready because I expect a lot of things from this team this year. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. Shout out Lorenzo Carter, uh, Blue Devil legend. He decided to retire today. Former Falcon, was up in Tennessee and decided to hang up the cleat. So shout out Lorenzo. Appreciate all your years of service to the Falcons, to the Dogs, and to the Blue Devils. Um, and we appreciate all y'all listening. Hit that like, subscribe, comment. Check us out on our other socials. We got that TikTok, that Instagram. Give us a follow, and
We got that big
we
ring
got
too,
that
man. We got that Twitter.
big X as well. So follow us on our other socials, and we'll catch you in another episode.
Yeah, man.
Peace.
Hit the link tree. Look us up on the link tree. We're everywhere you are now. But we'll catch y'all on the next one. Peace.